The pharmaceutical companies get involved. The response to disease is always their pharmaceutical products. It's never lifestyle and health changes. What's one of the best videos of Fauci is early on before the pandemic kicked off, where he's saying just lose weight. You don't need a mask. It's not going to work. Just don't drink. Don't smoke. Try to take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. Like, where did all that go? Well, that's not convenient to pharmaceutical companies. And it's also lumping everybody physically into the same boat in the same category of risk is so crazy. And that's what's really freaking people out because they're trying to do it to little children. Because they're trying to do that now to little children when there's significant risk of myocarditis. It's a real thing. We know it's a thing. These goddamn commercials that you see where they're talking about little kids and myocarditis on television. Like, when was that an issue? You're trying to pretend that this was an issue before? This was not an issue that you needed to advertise on television, the risk of myocarditis in children, and just give them some medicine, and then they're going to grow up and be happy and healthy. Like, you don't even fucking know that because you don't know the extent of the heart damage. You don't know that.
There was another clip of Fauci it was in during the lockdown regime before Operation Warp Speed. So before the vaccine regime, when we were still in the lockdown regime. And this video I haven't seen go as viral, but I played it on my podcast. Part of the problem, if you go look, it's in like one of the last 5 episodes if anyone wants to check it out. But he was saying point blank during the COVID lockdowns that when people were going, well, maybe we could get a vaccine and that'll get us out of these lockdowns. And he was like, no, because even if we got a vaccine, it would take at least 2 years of trials before we would know whether this vaccine was safe. And then sometimes vaccines can have a negative effect where actually you're worse at fighting off the virus afterward. And he kind of breaks down this whole thing. Then all of a sudden, once Operation Warp Speed starts, and then once Biden gets in, you're not allowed to talk about that anymore. And in fact, when I was on with you, it was a couple times ago, it was the clip that you got like all this heat for, and Fauci even responded. And essentially what you were saying was like, hey, if you're a young person, just be really healthy. That's my advice to you. Eat healthy, exercise, get a lot of sunlight, get vitamin D, like all these things. And that became like a controversial statement. There is all of the science backs that up. That is absolutely excellent advice.
But it had nothing to do with science at that point. It was a narrative. This is what's going to get us out of this horrible thing we're in now. Take it. And everybody had to take it. And if you didn't take it, there was all this crazy nonsense. Like, first of all, they knew in the beginning that it wasn't going to stop infection. They knew. That Burke said that. She said that now. I should have said that before. Yeah. She said that. I knew that it wasn't going to prevent infection.
She said, like, we oversold it a little or something like that. Yeah,
I don't know what she said, how she said it. But, you know, that was known back then. And it's also, if you talk to virologists about respiratory illnesses, like, you can't contain them. Yeah. You do your best. Like, can you stop yourself from getting it? Yeah, if you completely isolate from humanity and you stay on a ranch and you never leave, and you get your own well water, and you wait this bitch out. That's possible. You could do that. But other than that, if you're going to be in contact with human beings, and especially something that you can spread before you know you have it, which apparently is the case, like, people could have a mild form of it and be spreading it, and then other people can die from it. Yeah. And you might not be affected by it at all, but the other people that get it might die. And so that was the big fear. Right? And everybody was like, if you are irresponsible at this point, you're contributing to this horrible situation. I get that. But why didn't we put that same sort of focus and same sort of pressure on people to take care of their health? Because that makes a big fucking difference. A giant difference, as big as anything, is whether or not you're healthy and you have a robust immune system that can fight off any kind of infection. Not just this one, but all the ones that people get constantly and die from. I mean, there's fucking in the neighborhood of 30 to 50,000 people every year die from the flu, right? Isn't it something crazy like that?
Yeah, depending
like
on the season. Year? Yeah.
What about that? You know, are we just going to do the same lockdown thing for everything now? Like, what are we going to do when diseases come? Is 50,000 okay, but 500,000's bad? And out of those 500,000, how many of them were fat? How many of them were old? How many of them had 4 comorbidities, which is the average? 4 comorbidities of people that died from it?
Yeah.
This is wild shit.